Hello and welcome, everyone. It is the return of the only podcast that matters, the DPL Podcast. I am your host, Zombie Bacon. I am here with Doughnut and our wonderful guest this week, Index. How are you guys doing?
Hello. Doing pretty good.
Solid, Doughnut. Very solid. Um,
Yes.
so we are back after a little bit of a hiatus, and we finally had our first community tournament. And now, of course, as some of you remember, I did ask in general for some ideas, and all your ideas sucked, so I did this instead. Index, what's up, my man?
Not much. Just chilling. Trying to relax after hosting that tournament.
Yeah,
But here I
yeah,
am on the podcast, so I figured I'd just make the media runs right after it.
Exactly.
exactly. You gotta run the
You gotta
victory
talk
lap,
to
right?
all the media, the one that there is.
Yeah, the singular medium. Um, so Index, obviously, you are a competitive player for Gnomes.
Yep.
You're also a wonderful team lead with us over at DPL. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So I think the standard question we always ask is like, what was your start in the game? What was your real
Oh
sort of
man.
progenital experience?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good story. So I started, I want to say like maybe going on close to a year now ago, playing the game, getting involved in casuals, whatnot. I started playing with Mighty Shrub, one of the older Gnomes players, who's also my sibling.
Wait,
Kind of
really?
just fell. Yeah, Mighty Shrub's my sibling. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't
Um,
know
yeah.
Family
So,
ties.
we started playing together, just playing casually, and on the Discord for Due Process, I found DPL, and I used to play a lot of Counter Strike, got involved in ESCA and whatnot, and I'd always kind of been like fiending another game to grind. So I started looking into Due Process competitive, Due Process League, and I found this team called Blackout that was forming. I want to say at the beginning of DPL season 2.
I
So
remember
I get on
Blackout.
this
Yeah.
team, try out. There's maybe like 5 or 6 of us, and this is like 2 weeks away from the qualifier tournament. So like completely clean slate. We had a chance to show what we were made of. We were scrimming a lot and playing decent. Then the day of the qualifiers happens, the IGL and basically the top frag of the team completely gone. Like ghosts the entire team, disappears off Discord, disappears off Steam. I've literally never heard from them again. So the entire thing like collapses. And I'm just sitting there like, you know what? Like, I still want to play this game. So I got the team captain of Blackout to give me access to the team, renamed it to Gnomes because my profile picture, like the one you see of me with that puking gnome, that's always been my profile picture. Like, that's been my profile picture for years. It's from a animated show called Gravity Falls. Anyway, rename the whole thing the Gnomes, get Mighty on the team, literally get 10 random people from Due Process that I pulled out of casuals, have them play 2 10-mans against each other, take the best players, and then ended up with a roster of, I don't know if you'll remember these names, but Nog was there from day one. Then also Lucy, Terran, Mighty was like our starting roster, as well as a guy named Chip and a guy named Row Films.
that.
So
Chip,
literally like a
you're so
group
good.
of 5 people I pulled out of casuals, and I just started grinding. Like we started playing tons of scrims, playing super hard. And then on top of that, I started recruiting. So got control on the team, got med on the team. That definitely like pumped things up to another level. Then going into rivals, we sort of had like a week early start. Then we kind of just made this whole run after getting control and med. Ended up doing pretty well. Like I think we 7-2'd LCG for our final match in Rivals, and they were like the top team when we started, and then made our way into
Were
DPL.
they? Where?
Okay, in season
Yeah,
2
it was
Rivals,
them
yeah.
and Red in season
Yeah.
2 who were at the top of Rivals, and then it
Yeah.
ended up being Gnomes and Rise, I believe, were at the top, as well as one other team that I can't remember, LCG, I think.
Yeah,
Who
no,
knows?
it was LCG actually made it in via relegation. So if I remember correctly, it was Rise and Gnomes were promoted.
Rise Gnomes, and I think was it Rats?
And Rats,
No.
yes.
I think maybe
Well,
Rats made it
were
in.
Yeah, they
Or
made
was
it
were
in.
Rats given the spot?
no
I don't
Rats
remember.
were via relegation because SPG at the time, Sanctus Palma Granada, beat Rats thanks to Six Sided's insane carry. Great game, by the way. Like insane carry by Six Sided. They beat Rats. SPG then disbands. I think 2 weeks later, Rats are relegated
Mhm.
up because that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And then LCG was actually the fourth place rivals team at the time, and then
And they
upon
got inconsistent.
BTG's disbandment, they were
They got in.
relegated up. Yeah.
Yes.
I actually have so much love for SPG. So basically, the reason why Gnomes got anywhere as good as we did is because we scrimmed SPG maybe 3 times a week.
They were such a great pair.
And like at their
group of
top,
guys.
they were a really good team. They were a
Mm-hmm.
DPL team. We were some no-name rivals team, and like they literally just agreed, like, yeah, like we'll scrim you as much as you want. And that's how it was. Like every time we encountered a team that we lost a lot to, I immediately scheduled another scrim with that team within the next week. So like I remember the first time we went up against Nemesis, we were like this no-name rivals team, and they just absolutely wiped the floor with us. Like, started trolling at the very end, and I was like, all right, we're playing this team again next week. Like that's the only way we're gonna get better. And yeah, I mean the rest is history.
Yeah, and I mean, like, on the SPG topic, I really want to, like, I always say this, SPG during that, when the DPC Open happened and when qualifiers are happening, they were the scariest team by
Yeah,
far.
Six and Sleep really were
Like Six
just
and
a
Sleep were on their
crazy
game.
combo.
They had Bud and Dusty. Bud was was a disgustingly good sniper. No, and then Dusty was just very good. And then Tibber was he played well. He knew how the game worked in and out. And that was just a scary team. And it's kind of sad to see them kind of fall apart, you know? But I think after the loss of Six Sided, then,
Well, yeah,
that
because
was so sad.
it was Six Sided left, and then at that particular time at DPL, we had a lot of trouble getting people interested in playing the game just because of the state it was in at that particular
Yeah.
time. And because for those community members who don't remember, we had Gunplay 2.0 without all the fun stuff that we have now. We didn't have the KR82, the big boy. We didn't have the Silence Gruber. We didn't have the Silence Black. The Black Tar sucked. Remember when the Black Tar was just horrible?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
good
really,
days.
really good until like awful, and people yes, if we just use it more, it'll get good. But no, people use the
Yeah,
Black Tar was still bad. It was
there was
forever
Yeah, it
there
was
was
bad.
no attacker economy. It was to the point where it's like, I remember with my early role on Hypa as utility man, it was literally, what do I take? Anything but an AP because it doesn't matter. Like shotguns I could use, and it's like that's what at the time you had to use to open doors. It's like cool. That's all I use. That and a Black Tar I get to use on factory. Lucky me.
Yeah, this is also like the AP race was the best thing in the game, and you couldn't. It was like
Well,
untouched.
you could AP brace across the map accurately.
No, yeah, it was so much fun. But I mean, and
I
that's
miss
you
that.
guys.
Honestly, I really, really miss that.
Do you?
Yeah,
Everyone does.
the cross factory AP snipes. I understand why they changed it, and Gunplay 3.0 was a massive improvement on Gunplay 2.0 in my opinion, but I still miss it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, talking now, you guys through all the updates, you guys definitely been a team, and you've had these moments where it's like,
We have been a
it's
team.
you've been 18.
Yes.
I guess.
TV. Way to keep it democratic there, Donut. Like I'm not going to say anything, but you've been a team. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, and you've definitely had your moments where it's like this is really good, and then you've also had some moments like, oh no, ooh, I'm surprised you're not disbanded yet. But you've been one of the people that's been able to stick around and be in the community for a long time. And when you said Blackhead, I was like, oh, those are bringing up some memories because
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, like, as a captain, I think teams disband because of a lack of energy. Um, you know, at any point you can remake your roster. Like it's not hard. And if you're aggressive about recruiting, you can find players and bring them onto teams and make them better. That's something I've tried to do a lot of on Gnomes too, potentially to a fault. I've been extremely aggressive about recruiting over the course of our team, and you've seen our roster change a decent amount. Recently, we even picked up Jet and put him into a starting role as our sniper. It's actually been working pretty well. But it's hard, like because the community's small, because people have their frustrations with the game. You need to be on the ball about making sure that you are like fostering a good environment in your team, making sure people are actually committed to playing and holding them to that. And I don't think Gnomes is like the best team in this game, And recently we haven't been playing our best, but even then, I think that we have a really strong team. When we start to coordinate and play together, we get very scary very fast.
Mhm.
And even though recently we took a break and it's taking a sec for us to like get our footing again, I have no doubt that we'll get there because what I look for in teammates are people who are interested in putting in the time. Someone who is maybe not as good as another player, but puts in the effort and is playing every single day and has a really good attitude. That to me is more important than any individual skill, because I think over time, time invested will foster skill and experience in a way that maybe natural talent won't. And I think that's why we've been able to stay around so long, is because I've, over time been able to build a roster of people who are all as committed as I am. And I try and stick to the same standards that, I hold everybody else to.
Wow, that's actually really well said. Holy shit. But
Yeah,
so
now we're just like, yeah, well, we process that in our micro brains. What do we do now?
that's basically what's going on here. And I mean, when it comes to due process, it's had its ups and downs in terms of the size of the community. We've had weeks and weekends and weeks where it's been 1,000 players, and those have been some of the best and worst times. We've had the dream hack where it was along with a large spike in some sales, but it's definitely seeing finding those players in this small community, and keeping Madden is very nice. But I do want to ask you one thing: is that coming out, how was really season 3 and coming out of it? You guys played pretty decently in season 3. You ended up 5th, if I'm not wrong,
Mhm.
and like I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on season 3, and then not making playoffs, and then kind of like, all right, now what?
Yeah, there were definitely some frustrations with season 3. The very last game we played, or one of them, we 2-0'd Rise. But because Rise had played Yakuza 4v5 for their official match, they ended up with more wins than we did, and we weren't able to go into a tiebreaker against them. So that kind of sucked, just because, had Yakuza been in full form, I think we could have made a legitimate, or at least we had more of a real shot getting into the semifinals. That said, over the course of season 3, like, we definitely evolved and got better. Towards the end, we picked up Louis. We really started finding our footing. And it's kind of unfortunate because I felt like once we hit our peak in season 3, it was very much at the end, and then we all took a pretty long break. So we're definitely, kind of paying the price for that, and that we are needing to find our footing again, rebuild that chemistry, and it just takes time.
For sure. I think also like I know talking about burnout and like needing a break is like I had to take a break. I think there hasn't been a team that exists now, at least that are at least from season 3, that hasn't taken a break from the game. Outside
Yeah,
of maybe
Yeah,
Nemesis.
for
but even
sure.
then, they've taken breaks. They played because Nemesis for a decent amount of time. And not to undermine you, but is that uh, some people they were like, all right, we're gonna take. Would they only play due process during when matches were happening?
Well, yeah, but that's
They maybe
that's no
they
different
scrimmed
than
like
what
once or
they've
twice,
been
but
doing.
yeah,
That's no different than what they had been doing before. And I think
yeah.
when I say break, I mean a break from what they normally
Oh,
contribute to the game. Um, and Nemesis has never, at that point, at any point, really been like a real scrim heavy team outside of when Gunplay 2.0 came out and they were scrimming every day trying to learn it.
yeah.
Um,
And then like whenever there's an update, they scrim constantly. But then after that, they figure it out and they fall off.
They're actually, I don't know if I'd agree with either of you there. I think they're pretty good about scrims. I think they probably get in, maybe a couple a week. Typically we scrim them maybe every other week or so, and obviously other teams do as well. So while they definitely taking breaks, like, they're definitely scrimming, just maybe not
Mhm.
as much as, some of the other teams like Depth.
Yeah. How often does depth
so
scrim? I've always wanted to. I
Death
always
Scrim
wondered
a
about that.
lot, from my understanding. I think Depth and Neo are probably the teams that are playing the most. Neo basically play every single day, and if they don't have scrims, then they're 5-stacking casuals, which, say what you will, it means they're getting hours in the game.
yeah, if nothing
Yeah.
else, I think even beyond that, I know like TBD at least tries to scrim a lot, but I think time zones are weird too.
And then also all
Um,
of them have like jobs and real
but
life.
but going back to what started us on this discussion is that the seasonal format we had was very long and very, I think, grueling for a lot of people, especially with the game
Yeah,
changing
for
so
sure.
much every once in a while. Um, so going from that, I know that's a big reason why we wanted to switch to these community-driven tournaments, and Index, of course, graciously has been our first community-driven tournament.
And
Um,
And
and
only
I'm kidding.
ever.
only
I'm kidding.
only soon TM always. I'm gonna steal a page from the Book of Pion. But what was the experience of like running this community tournament for you? Like, because you're in a unique position, I think. One, because you're already part of DPL staff, or pardon me, DPL helpers, and things like that. But coming to it, what can people who want to run a tournament expect? Like, what can DPL offer them? What like what was your experience overall in terms of getting this thing organized?
Yeah, I'd say it's a mixed bag. For starters, it really depends on how involved you want to get. I'm a bit of a control freak, so I got very involved. You were super helpful in setting up casting and prod, and then I, kind of got on top of them from there to try and make sure everything was organized. I had, announcement videos. There's going to be another video from after the end of the for the end of the tournament. Plus I was doing, reffing, scheduling, all of that. So I think it kind of depends on how involved you want to get. And I also think there's still some work to be done in ironing out how much DPL assists with these community events, because there are certain situations where I felt like it was hard work, and if you aren't prepared to do that, then DPL isn't right there to hold your hand through the entire process. So, I think if you're going to successfully pull off a tournament, you need to be ready to invest the time in order to make that happen. But it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a really cool event. I'm really happy with how many people showed up, and I thought we had some really good matches in there. I loved casting the finals. I thought that was so much fun. And besides, a couple teams whining about, random rulings, I thought it went pretty well.
Welcome, welcome to the whining about rulings
Yeah,
life.
for real.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now you understand everyone else's pain. Ugh.
Yeah, but the funniest story, and is that we're getting ready to cast the finals, and I just wake up after a long night, and I haven't had my coffee yet, or like any breakfast, and I come to the con, I'm like, oh, I'm tired, I'm groggy, and Index like, are you sure you can cast this? I'm just
I
like,
remember just hearing you on
dang.
the mic. I was like, "Oh my god, Doughnut, wake up!"
That's literally Donut anytime he shows up to just about anything. Like, I'll ask him to play Counter Strike, and he gets up like he has a hangover, just like,
Yeah.
I'm ready to play.
I
It's
just always imagined Donuts like pounding energy drinks and like doing math, like just scribbling on his whiteboard, like solving universal like constants and getting at life's truths.
he's the number one G Fuel buyer in the country. Like,
I have consumed more Monster than I'd like to admit.
oh,
Oh my
Monster's the
god.
energy drink of choice besides
Oh,
Red
that's
Bull, though.
funny. On our team, Axie is the Red Bull guy. Axie is
Yeah.
literally developed a dependence on Red Bull.
That's understandable. That's the thing I like about Monster is like it's revolting enough where I don't think I'll get addicted. You know, it tastes just bad enough to where I'm like I don't want to do this for fun.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I've
Yeah.
never really been an energy drink
Talking
guy.
about
I never even
Monster
drank
or energy
coffee.
drinks. Let's get one.
Let's
And he's gone.
oh my god, donut.
I have a thing right beside me. There you go.
Well, we've talked a bit about Gnome Dome. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results so we can talk about that. I think this was what was nice about this was a very sort of serious community tournament in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
and we
Mhm.
got to see teams duke it out in a way we have not seen in a while since DPL season 3, and man was it a slugfest. Index putting this together, I think we had some discussions in DPL helpers about like what we were expecting. This is certainly sort of this was very much an expected sort outcome with the teams
Yeah.
who did make it up top.
hmm
But I think some of the results within that were unexpected. What were your thoughts going into this?
Yeah, when I set up the tournament, I was like, if I'm going to do this thing, I want it to be legitimate. I want this to be a serious tournament with a serious prize pool with people who take it seriously. I want competition. And I set up the format to facilitate that. So it was an initial group seeding based on performance in DPL Season 3. So that meant, Nemesis had a pretty easy group, Depth had a pretty easy group, Yakuza had a pretty easy group, and then the hardest one was the one where Gnomes, TBD, and Neo, or Global Breakout, or whatever they want to be called these days.
Global breakout.
Yeah, we were all in a group together, and that went exactly how one might think it would. We had Nemesis and Yakuza up against each other, and then Depth and Global, or sorry, Nemesis
It
and
was
Global
yeah.
Breakout against each other, and then Depth and Yakuza. And I would say it was all pretty expected. Not to say that's a bad thing, because I think we got some great matches. I was particularly excited to watch Nemesis versus Global Breakout because, I do think Global Breakout is kind of the up and comer in DPL and has a lot to prove. And I thought they played quite well. I think Nemesis showed why they're still on top, and I think a big part of that is picking up Plebdo. He's a massive performer, one of the better players when he was on Neo, and adding him to the already insane roster of Nemesis was, kind of a no-brainer. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of the things Nemesis have been able to do quite well, is because they have a long-standing reputation as the champion of the game. They have successfully leveraged that to make good pickups. The most notable one is Josh picking him up from what was formerly SH, and then most recently Plebdo. Like, those are two huge additions, and they really came over because they wanted to win. They're like, oh, I'm a good player, I want to go to the #1 team, and Nemesis are more than happy to oblige.
Well,
So I think that
even
has
beyond
really
that,
helped them
though,
from a recruiting perspective.
I think even beyond that, though, Nemesis has a really healthy culture surrounding it as a team, in my opinion. Again, but I think a lot of people know this. I'm biased. I really like Nemesis. I like those guys. I'm friends with them. Like Nemesis. I just, as a culture of a team, is very positive, very performance oriented, but they also play games at a high level. Like, that's, of course, they're all friends. They play their games together. So I think that's really kind of what makes a magic sauce for a team. And when you have a culture like that is so appealing, it makes it an easy switch over.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
like, I'm good, you're good, you're winning, and it's fun. Let's go.
Yeah,
And
and we
also
heard that from Josh. When we
when you
interviewed
look at
him.
it,
Yeah.
when you look at it too, you have this thing where it's like it's they played games together and they were very fun, but also they take the game a lot more seriously than people expect. Even when there was the whole like, Nemesis don't do whatever. Index, you touched on this earlier, but they scrim a decent amount when they want to. They put a lot of time and effort into it. They do VOD review more than you expect.
Hmm.
And I think one of the funniest things is that they had six-sided, which is arguably at his peak the best player in the game. Uh, and then was still very very good when he kind of fell off. They had him as a sub, and
Well,
so
but
you have this
yeah.
like appealing culture, and like let's say you zombie, you were cracked out of you started playing the game again, you were cracked out of your mind because you took like 80 milligrams of Adderall, whatever, you know, and then like you want to win, and so the first thing is that all right, I want to win, I want to have fun as well as I do it, and I want that confirmation. You go to Nemesis, and I feel that especially a lot of people are like, oh, the Nemesis washed, they don't practice or whatever, whatever, whatever. It's kind of this like, what do you want about, because yeah, they had some weird showings against Neo, and also they didn't do the 2-0 as everyone expected, but it felt very like, well, I didn't feel, but it had this thing, if you look behind the scenes, of like, they still play a lot, they practice a lot, they have a lot of care. And a lot of teams don't do that, and so when you join Nemesis, you join a team that cares a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think what I was going to say beyond that is with Nemesis as well, like, I think we have to take into effect, like, people, you take a stellar player and put them into a stellar team. That's always been a thing in sports and esports and all that kind of stuff, where it's, the torch may not burn as bright as we expect it to. Because also, one, you have to get a great player who's been, Mr. Top Frag, Mr. Hard Carry, and put them maybe not into that role, or into a role where it's like it's harder for them to necessarily pop off. I think of Josh during, I think it was game one, didn't necessarily have the best game one against Global Breakout. Had a little bit of a rough time, but then when it counted, he got that insane 4K with the mop, right? So when you become more reliant on your other teammates to be able to do these kind of things, you really get a sense of um, it's less of a overall like stellar performance and more like, do they step up when they need to?
And I mean, if you want to look at the bracket too, we can't this can be the Nemesis show, and definitely they've earned it. Is also you had some really good play from other teams. We saw Depth play very well. They had yes, they got 7-0. I know everyone's laughing about that. Ha, where's Farrell? Farrell carry, but they played very respectably, if not more so. And so talking about these other teams like Depth, Yakuza, and Global Breakout, and whatever. It's like if we look at them, they have this they also have very deep rosters too.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to talk, and if we get into, let's say, touch on Global Breakout for a second, they have people like Akazo. Akazo, I think, is a sniper, if I'm not
Yep.
wrong.
I
Yeah,
believe
the
he
sniper.
is their mopper specifically. I don't think he
No,
uses
they have
sniper.
Billboard.
Akazo is insane.
Yeah.
Billboard's
Akazo on mop,
yeah.
and I believe Akazo is also their IGL.
Yeah, and so you have two very good
Big
players
brain.
in Billboard and Akazo. You have some very solid role players in Sachi, and I think Domsey. I don't know who else is on that team. I'm going to be honest. So.
Well, if only there was a way you could
They
look
have
up who was on
Argo
the
as well.
team.
He's pretty solid, and he kind of
Oh yeah,
adds a
I
pretty
forgot Argo
ratty
was
element to their team. The rest of them are pretty. There's kind of two different types of players you often encounter in this game, like a more disciplined player who's going to play it like your average FPS, like Counter-Strike, Valorant, etc. And then there are players who like really lean into the kind of ratty elements that this game provides, like exploiting corners or, spots that someone might overlook, going for runouts, going for, awkward positions. And some of the best players who do that, you obviously have Chrome. You have Satrams, but Argo also has really cemented himself as one of the better kind of rattier players. And you see him add a level of aggression to the roster that maybe the rest of them aren't necessarily playing with.
Yeah, and I think even moving from that, like we've talked about Nemesis, we've talked about Global Breakout. That was a great game. But really, I think the team to talk about right now is Depth, because oh my god, yeah, Doughnut did bring it up, like haha, funny 7-0'd. But I think that much more speaks to how much Farrell brings to that team.
Yeah. I
Like
think we saw a big difference when Adaxi was swapped out for Farrell. Even in the first round, Farrell starts making really intelligent plays. I think the first round he played was on Kill House, and already he's spamming red doors, spamming walls, taking off like maybe a good 100, 150 damage off the team before he saw anybody. Like he's just a very efficient, intelligent player, and I think it's a big addition to the roster. Ned
most
is
definitely.
also another pickup. I don't think he was on their team for DPL season 3, but Ned's cracked. Like he's good. And both Farrell and Ned together represent, a massive series of improvements and kind of injection of fresh blood into the roster.
And also, I think like we've seen, particularly Daya, really step up, and I still think Daya is one of the strongest players on that team without a doubt. Like without a shadow of a doubt. I think
love him.
he's amazing, but like definitely probably my favorite player on that team, but like just insane. And when you throw quite literally an esports pro in Farrell into that dynamic, you really see the magic you can get. And I hate to say this, I really do, but I think if Depth wants to perform against Nemesis, they're gonna have to bench someone.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to bench someone and make sure Farrell is in there as much as humanly possible.
I think that's the main
Yeah.
roster. What we saw game 2 was Gravy, Farrell, Dyer, Marbles, and Ned.
Yeah, which is strange to me if that's the main roster, because I remember seeing Farrell in Twitch chat during game one, and I was
Really?
like, yeah, I do remember that, and I was like, man,
Why
really?
aren't you playing?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay, um, you know, and particularly game one, I don't think it actually played very well, and I think we saw that, and I have no discomfort saying that because it actually still a good player, but just wasn't perhaps performing at that particular time. Um, but man, like seriously, I thought the sub out was solid choice.
Yeah.
Especially after seeing them take a game off Nemesis, like
And
I
pretty well too, 7-3.
pretty decisively, very nice. But that's the thing too is it's hard to like stress to anyone who's not been around since season, like even season 3. Like if you were around season 3, but particularly if you were around during DPL season 2, how astonishing it is that Nemesis dropped 2 games. Like that's just crazy to think about. They went undefeated 2 complete seasons of DPL.
Yeah, they lost. They didn't. I think the only team they have not 2-0'd in a season was Slaughterhouse,
Yeah, and that
and
was
that
a
was like peak
yeah.
Slaughterhouse. That was like Rain, You were playing. Were you playing that game? No, you
That
were on hype
game.
at that point.
No, I was on hype at that point. That was
Yeah, that was it.
yeah, and I arguably I think and Josh told me this, so I feel comfortable saying this. Is I think we could have won if I was on the roster at that time.
Yeah,
Just in
because it was
terms
like
of the
Rain,
consistency. Yeah, it was who's
Volps,
nuts. Volp.
Mackie, Xe, and Josh.
No, it was Rezi and
That
Josh for that game.
Rezi and Josh. Okay,
Yeah.
man, I love that. I love Rain. I love that team. Oh,
Yeah, Rain was
Pro
nuts.
gamer
loved
hours.
Pro Gamer Hours, best video never made. But but and so we just see that these Nemesis definitely dropping 2 games is big, but it's also when you talk to some people who've watched Nemesis a long time and have kind of experienced them, is they do have some slow starts. They
Oh,
have
for
this
sure.
slow start leading up to at least game one, because it's also a decent amount of players on the East Coast, or not the East Coast, the West Coast,
West
and
Coast,
so you
yeah.
schedule a game at like 12 Eastern. That's 11 Central, 10 Mountain. That's 9 for them. And
Josh never
knowing
gets up
Josh
that
and
early.
Mace's sleep schedule, those guys aren't never going to sleep early. They're probably going to be in bed at like 4 a.m. So
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah,
but I think what's even important to take away from that is like looking forward towards the DPL major. I really want to get like a sense of where we think teams are going to
great
land.
transition.
Big transition into talking about the major.
Big transition into the DPL major.
Um, it's a really good segue. I'm sorry. Uh,
It's such a good segue.
and
Tetra, we love you. Thank you for
There it
transitioning
is.
so
There's a
perfectly.
transition.
yeah, a little late on the uptake there, but you know what can you expect from a British person? Um,
Oh no.
so no,
So this is
my
yeah.
understanding is we're gonna have brackets. Like
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna
will have
do
brackets.
a full on fantasy league for DPL.
Oh yeah, okay. So let me make some announcements. One, this bracket is not final. This is a bracket if seeding that we kind of did internally continues. And so this bracket is not final. Do not screenshot this and post it on the channel. Be like, bracket me. Why is this team against this team? This team seeded this way. This is a test bracket if we seed it how we thought we would. But yes, me and Zombie are putting up a bit of a prize to a person that is able to get the correct bracket when seeding and initial matches come out. And if you're able to get the correct bracket 100% of the way, you pick all the right teams and who wins and who doesn't. You don't have to get game like, this team's 3-0 towards this team, whatever. But it's who wins. I think we're putting up together $150.
I think it's
If
Yeah,
I'm not
actually
wrong.
Zombie's real quiet
250.
now.
No, I was trying to think. You Yeah, I think it's 150 or it's between that and 250. I can't remember. But you put up some
Yeah.
money and I made the bold decision to double that money. Um
Yeah. So
so
I put up 50, you put up 100. So it's $150.
it's $150 and if anyone wants to up the stakes, we can certainly I am a gambling man.
Yeah,
I
and
can be convinced.
we'll release more as it comes out, definitely.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that. Unfortunately, players, just so you know, players in the DPL major cannot fill out a
What?
bracket. Cannot fill out a
No.
bracket.
All right. Well, I'm officially not playing the major then.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
just to be fair, you have to drop yourself from Gnomes. You cannot be on a roster of a DPL major team.
No.
You cannot be playing in the DPL major, just because. Not that it would happen, but to avoid any possibility of throwing or things like that. Um, just be aware. So anyone else in the community who wants to make some moolah, perhaps more than most of the other players have made in this game, feel free to fill out your
Hey,
bracket
I'm at
when that is
negative 250
announced.
right now for my earnings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah.
Not after this. Not after this. But we're getting into the DPL major. It is going to be the latter half of September, and we are basically just going to. It is going to be a double elimination bracket, and we're going to be the teams is going to go through best of 3 all the way, and it's going to happen over 2 weekends. You know, you guys are just going to play. This is for all the players and non-players, and game's gonna be streamed. You know, it is like a major tournament. And again, this bracket is not final. Okay, so don't get your panties in a wad, and people get mad at that. But
Yeah, you just
this is what we have for
we,
now.
we as a community have a tendency to like jump the gun a
Freak
little
out.
bit, and this is again not final, but besides the point. Predictions.
Let's get into predictions. Index. Break it down. I know it's a bit harder to see, but like index. The
Yeah,
first match.
I think
Hogfish
these are
versus
pretty
Nemesis.
straightforward. Obviously Pogfish, they're gonna beat Nemesis.
Obviously,
Rats,
yeah.
easy win over Depth. What is that? Yakuza versus Global Breakout. Yeah, easy
Yep.
win for Yakuza there. And yeah, I think Pogfish all the way.
Dogfish all the way. I mean, you know, I gotta disagree with you. Respectfully, Index. Um, I'm gonna call it. I think obviously I think the right choice right now, particularly just in my feelings of what teams are stronger. Um, I think Gnomes will take it a lot further than we're
Yeah,
expecting, and that's
for sure.
I am not here to because I'm not saying this because Index is here. I think
I am.
here's my top 4 because I know who I want to say is gonna win, and everybody's gonna be like, oh, we know who Zombie wants to win. Yes, of course. I want Nemesis to win. I'm a big fan of it. I said it on stream. I'll say it again. I would get Nemesis tattooed on me at an event. Like the DPL major was an event. I would get Nemesis tattooed on me. I would wear the jersey. Like those are the homies. I would
The whole 9 yards.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, straight up super fan Nemesis. I will follow that roster till I die. Whatever
Yeah. But
fucking org they go to, I'm there. But I think top 4 in no particular order
mhm.
outside of number 1 is Nemesis. And then I think honestly, if Feral plays, I think Depth over Global Breakout.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Global Breakout, and then the 4th spot is hard for me because I'm very split between Yakuza and Gnomes.
I think it's one of those things where it's like if Macius and Voxel, because they haven't been playing the game from what I've heard a lot.
Well, and they have taken a break from the game officially, from what I know.
Yeah.
They've been doing. I follow those boys. They're my friends. I love Macius and Voxel. Poland #1 Kurva. So they have actually found quite a bit of success. They've played a major LAN event in Poland for Valorant.
Yeah, those
They've been
guys are
playing.
cracked.
They've been doing a lot of great stuff. Check out their streams. They are amazing people. I mean, just seriously, some of my favorite people. And just great people to watch play video games. Voxel's big brain. Macius is a great sniper.
I love
So
them.
yeah, and I think that's a big thing. If they play, I think Yakuza over
Yeah,
Gnomes.
Yakuza's number 4. If they don't play,
If they
and then
don't,
I actually don't know
I
who.
think it's
I have
Gnomes
no idea.
because
I don't know.
I think it's Gnomes because I don't think I think after Rise lost Argo, I think that team is very hollow right now.
Who's on Rise at this point? Digital Doctor.
Digital, I think, is
Fucking
probably the strongest player on that team.
would agree with that.
I'm doing a team info
Honestly,
Rise
like,
right now. Yeah,
we do
Digital
not
Duck, and
know
I that's the only
Rise
person I know.
as well as we used to. I don't know how many people know this, but Rise and Gnomes used to be like sister teams. Like we were super close, mostly because Tanky and I were like boys.
Brothers.
And ever since he left the team, I really have not stayed in contact with the rest of them. I think it's Digi. I want to say Roz on there as well.
I know Roz. I know Hyper. Hyper's the OG. Hyper's a great guy.
Hyper's been
Hyper's
there.
on
Yeah,
there.
he's great.
Um,
But if you want to do
Hex
bracket,
too.
we can do bracket predictions as we kind of go down. So, producer Tetra, I'm going to call you that now. Who do you have for the first matchup? Nemesis or Pogfish?
Def Nemesis.
Oh, Nemesis. That's not even a question.
That's not even close.
I haven't even seen Pogfish play the game.
I think Pogfish
I
are
think they
good
play
though.
a little bit.
Yeah,
No,
they
I'm
play well.
not saying I've never watched them play a game. Like I cannot predict
Oh,
anything
okay.
about that team. I have never seen them like play the game. I have never watched a game of Pogfish. So
The only thing I know
and
about
then-
Pogfish is they have Dad on their team, and Dad's probably my favorite person in this entire community.
the dad jokes are 10 out of 10. Gotta say.
Yeah, he's just just a ray of
You love him.
sunshine.
Yeah.
I don't put sarcasm on that.
Yeah. I mean,
He's the only person who knows how to talk shit without taking it too seriously.
Yeah. And
he's
then so we have
about
that.
it. Yeah. But talking shit without an ego, like
Yeah.
not like I'm better
Key,
than you.
you're right. That is key.
It's just like it's not I'm better than you. It's just you're bad, and
It's
I
just
know
trash
it.
talk. It's just pure trash talk, and it's like best form.
Absolutely.
So we have then the fun matchup: Gnomes versus Rise. If we continue this,
I think that's going to be a good
fun
one.
event.
Honestly, I think that will end up being relatively close.
I'm going full in on Gnome. I'm saying 2 games for Gnomes.
I literally think it's going to be a 2-1.
Let's
I don't know
go.
who, but it's going to be a 2-1. And because Index is here, I'll probably put Gnomes. But if Index wasn't here, I'd probably
Yeah,
still
the
put
viewers
Gnomes.
can't see it, but I
fill out
actually
a
do have a
bracket,
gun to Doughnut's head.
Yeah, I mean, no gun to my head because I'm the sensible one here. But I'm telling you, if I was filling out a bracket, I would definitely put Gnomes over Rise.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Yakuza versus Global Breakout. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, I would put Global Breakout over Yakuza. I even may put Global Breakout like tied with Depth now. But it's a bit touchy, And I think if that were to be a game,
yeah,
it would be one of those things where it's like
that is definitely
2-1
game. Yeah, definitely a 2-1 game. Mm-hmm. I think even possibly an overtime.
It also is very dependent on the roster. But
yeah, I think that.
Yeah,
I think that game is probably a 1-1-1, like a 1 tie 1 going to overtime. Like that's what I see that game as.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think Global Breakout's going to run away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Yakuza are definitely strong, but from a team cohesion point, I'm not even sure they're going to last until the DPL major. So I think just Global Breakout are scrimming hard. They're playing a lot. They have strong players, and at their best, Yakuza are like a super good team. I just don't think they're playing enough, and I think that's going to cost them.
Oh yeah, pardon me. The 1-1-1 was for a possible Depth Global Breakout prediction. That
oops, sorry.
No, it's fine. No, I realized the confusion there. That's my bad. But yeah, no, I think Global Breakout takes that easy over Yakuza. But I was thinking like
I'm
Depth
still more like depends
Global
on that
Breakout
roster.
very up in the
That
air.
Yakuza roster, if it contains like
I don't think
Taiga,
so.
Flogel,
I
Ghetto,
don't think
Voxel,
so.
yeah.
Look at we're talking Global Breakout and Depth tied. Look at the Gnome Dome results. Yakuza got slaughtered by Depth.
Oh, did they?
Slaughtered by Depth.
Yeah, no, it was extremely one-sided.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we didn't get to watch that game. I think we watched the better game because like everyone wants to see a stomp, but in terms of fantastic games of DP, that is definitely we got to see that with Global Breakout versus Nemesis. But yeah.
Then we go to Rats, Fierce or Depth. excuse me. I think I called Depth Fierce like 5 times in the finals.
It doesn't help that our logo for them right now, it's just a hippo with depth
It's just-
written on top of it. It's welcome to the Scuffed Cast, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I like it. I think that should be their official logo. The new Death logo sucks. It's so bad. It's like a complete joke of a logo. That's it.
Dang.
That's my hot take for the day.
Hot takes, hot takes.
Catch marbles in my DMs.
Yeah, well,
That's amazing.
I don't think that's Marble's fault.
Yeah, true.
I
Well,
have
he
to
did
agree
sign
with
to the
you.
org, but
Well, yeah, but I gotta agree. The depth logo, like, I don't know if I'm looking like a piece of like shrimp tempura or like what. Like, am I supposed to be hungry?
Is it like a dolphin? I thought it was like a dolphin.
Is it a dolphin? It's not a very good dolphin.
I can never tell where the tail is. It's like, is it at the bottom? It looks like there's a tail in the middle of it. It looks like there's a tail at the top of it. It's like, what am I looking at?
I'll be honest. At first, I thought it was like just like a little like water ball. Like, I'm not sure exactly what it is. I just
Need
it
some
was one
love.
of those where I looked at it and I was like, okay, I don't know.
Especially because the hippo is
Tetris
so
won.
good. Like, that's just a
Hippo's-
top tier logo.
Hippo's
Yeah,
like
as much as Vi gets lots of garbage, he gets some trash. He did a good job with that Fierce logo.
Yeah,
He
did a
did,
great
a
job.
good job.
okay. Tetra's coming in with a take. Tetra thinks it's a wave.
It's
A wave. Is it a wave? I thought it was supposed to be a fish.
I mean, it could be a wave, but like, why would it be depth if you're a wave? Waves happen on the top, not at the bottom, right?
True. There's officially no depth to a wave.
No, that's a penguin. That's like a penguin, right? No.
Penguin? That I like that theory a lot more, actually.
Yeah, it's a penguin who's been turned inside out by a seal. That's what it is.
Exactly.
An abused penguin.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
All
no,
right. So then we
I
get
think
into
Depth takes
the.
that.
Yeah, Depth takes that, and then I mean, if you want to talk about rats are a good team.
All right, here
I think a lot of people are like,
Who's on the Rats roster these days?
Shriekle,
Scammer.
Sick, Reviv.
Playbug.
I think Roach. Playbug is on it, but he doesn't play.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Honestly, I'm going to give a little bit of a hot take here again. I think a lot of why Rats was successful was because of Kino. And I think without Kino, they're going to have
where
some
is
issues.
Kino?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he
Kino is
doesn't actually
somewhere-
want
I
to be
don't know where
called
he is.
Kino anymore, but I haven't heard what he wants his new name to be, so I'm just going to call him Kino.
Yeah, I have not talked to Kino in a while. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
I think
nice
think
guy.
they've just disappeared. So who knows? But I mean,
They do what they think.
for Rats, yeah. I think Kino is a very big part of that roster. He's insane at the game. So it's one of the. I think it's also another of those things where Rats, they're not a bad team. They're like a middle. They're like, if they win Rivals, they would rip Rivals in half, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Besides Global Breakout, if they would, but in DPL, it's just we have such good teams that they end up like 6th, and in my rankings. But that's really So if we were to do.
I was gonna say, moving on from this though, I wanna hear like everyone's top to bottom like placements.
You want to hear the top to bottom?
Yeah, I
All
want to
right.
hear. The
I'll go
bottom.
first. Nemesis, Depth, Breakout, Yakuza, Gnomes, Rats, Pogfish, Rise. You can switch Rats and Pogfish.
I'm thinking.
I think-
I'm thinking Nemesis, Depth, Global Breakout, Gnomes, Yakuza. I think Rats, Rise, Pogfish.
I know. I would need to see a Gnomes versus Yakuza matchup. I really would.
That'd be fun for more than one reason.
Yeah.
But I would need to see that happen. And I think maybe it can. But I mean, going into predictions, then if we're following the bracket, who do you have, Pogfish or Rise?
Definitely
Pogfish.
Rise. I think Rise just had the experience there.
I think
You're
Rise
the
over
tiebreaker.
Pogfish. Like I just like I am incapable of taking Fishy seriously.
That's true.
Yeah,
Whenever Fishy
true.
It is not physically possible.
Honestly,
for me
credit to
like-
him for successfully running a team because I didn't even think he'd be able to do that.
Successfully?
I mean, they made DPL. They made DPL. They like he put together some good players. There's some good players in that team.
Yeah, and then there's Fishy.
Oh, Fishy would be able to beat you though. That's the thing.
Speaking of Fishy, Fishy just popped up on my friends list. He is currently playing Apex Legends, so that tells me all I need to know.
All right, so Rise of a Pogfish, I guess, and then Yakuza versus Rats. I think it's just Yakuza. As much as I love Rats, it's Yakuza.
Yeah, definitely Yakuza there.
So, then I think after
Okay,
that
where's
we have the top.
LCG?
Hmm?
Where's LCG?
Don't, zombie, don't. Be nice.
Got him.
Be nice.
I just had to ask.
They already got relegated. We're
Yeah, we're
You
gonna.
had to do it to 'em.
If
Yeah,
this
somebody
if this
save
thing
Toxic. That man's
survives,
actually good.
yeah, honestly, save that man. But like straight up, I feel like that's a joke. I'm like I'll be 80, and they'll like there may be like a due process podcast, and I'll still be like,
LCG lol 20 years from
do
now.
you remember LCG? Ha! Trash.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Like I have nothing against them. I don't know why it's funny to me. I still like that's my favorite nickname of a team ever is LC Throw. Like that's it.
LC throw. Wait, did they throw a game?
They have a tendency to
Every
throw
game
their
they
games.
play is a throw.
Yeah,
Lol.
like they'll get the 5 rounds and then they can just like they just couldn't close out a game in
They
season 2.
combust. Yeah, they
Yeah.
blew up. Okay, and then we have Nemesis versus Gnomes.
Yeah,
I'm
that's an
sorry, man,
easy
but
one
no,
for
Nemesis is
Gnomes.
they're gonna rip you in half. It's gonna be like
Easy
2-0, like
W.
7-2, 7-0. It's not even funny. You're gonna
All right, if we
die.
do better than 7-2, I'm gonna spam the shit out of you, Doughnut.
Okay, bet.
Watch, they're gonna take a game out of them. Like, wait, I wanna. Well, let's get some skin in the game here. Donuts.
Yeah,
Come
I
on.
was just thinking that.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Index is trying to recoup his investment here from Gnome Dome.
one bet at a time. One outlandish bet at a
Yeah.
time.
All right, Index. If you get better than a total of 5 rounds total, if you're at the series on Nemesis, I will buy you a pizza or something like that,
Deal.
something around that. Yeah.
Done.
Index. If you take a game off of Nemesis, I will bankroll the next Gnome Dome.
Let's go. All right.
I will
Easy.
double the prize pool.
Easy. I'll make
Let's
this
go.
happen for
Yeah,
sure.
I'll buy you a pizza if you get more than a collective 5 rounds.
Yeah. All right. Sounds like I'm gonna be eating good after this tournament.
Gonna eat
Yeah.
that pizza
No,
for a week.
Eat that pizza. You send me a message every time you take a bite. Oh my
I will
god.
send you a full-length video of me eating that entire pizza.
So
Just a
good.
full
Paper
mukbang.
good.
donuts, mom.
Now, I gotta say we've talked about the major, but we do have one more event before the major.
Oh, we got it. We have to go through the entire predictions. You know, we got to.
But I just
I feel
want.
like we did predictions.
I feel like we've done it, but I do want to.
All
I
right,
do want.
fine. All right.
I need to
Fish all
show.
the way.
There is one team I have to talk about.
Yeah.
Being
What's that, Donnie?
spearheaded by the DPL doctor himself.
What?
Old.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Talk about
Genuinely
old.
gonna be fantastic team. They got Lamp Shady, who's nuts. They got Omerta, who is all right.
All right.
I'm
Savant,
telling you,
bro.
yeah, he's a. I'm a savant. I'm telling you, if anyone needs to laugh at something, watch some Omerta clips where he pops off and he just starts yelling that he's a savant.
Yeah, he's a character.
I love Omerta, but they got Old has Dad. They got Six Sided. They got Inked Geek. I'm telling you, like they will make a comeback in one of these tournaments, and they're gonna crush some people. They got the originals.
They got Man,
Yeah, they
they're
do
gonna
have the
come back.
OGs.
They're gonna
Omerta's actually a
completely
really
rip them
good
out.
IGL too. Like he knows what he's doing. I'm pretty sure he was coaching Nemesis for their finals match in the Gnome Dome Throwdown.
He does coach Nemesis.
Yeah.
Omerta is a fantastic coach, and beyond that, Omerta is just like an amazing person to play games with. Like very funny, very cool dude, and he's a doctor.
Wow.
I'm just imagining like
What a man.
there's like this, somehow, some way, there's like a DPL, there's like a due process land, and we get a murder little like doctor suit, and he comes in, he's like, I diagnose you with. He just trash talks in doctor speak. I don't know what he would say.
I gotta put a secret
Do you
out
know
here.
what kind of doctor he is?
I
Yes,
think
we
there's
know.
like cancer or like the brain.
No,
Cancer,
I think he's
cancer slash the brain.
No,
I
I
don't know
thought
if
he
that's
was
a specialized.
I thought he was a radiologist. I'm not sure. I could be entirely wrong.
Oh, so he
I don't know.
causes cancer.
He, no, in fact, he is the cancer. But I gotta say, Omerta, big facts, one of my favorite casters of all time. Like I've never enjoyed watching Due Process more than when Omerta is casting it. Like,
Yeah.
We'll get in there.
He just really doesn't hold back either. Like if you're shit, he'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I love about it. It's like I want to cast a game with him. That's one of the things I'm so sad that like he left before like I was able to like get him casting. I wasn't able to cast a game with him. No, I casted the Nemesis tournament. So
yeah, you casted the Nemesis.
that was fun. That was really fun.
That was a good time. Yeah, that was a
We
great
have
time.
we have Josh in chat saying he'll throw our match for pizza. So I'm already off to a
writing
good
that
start on
down?
our bet here, Doughnut.
Ooh,
That's a great bet.
great start. But you know what people hate though?
What?
Rules. Everyone hates rules. No one likes rules.
Marbles is yelling at us to do the predictions. Oh, okay.
We've done the predictions.
Yeah. So okay, fine.
Yeah,
Marbles,
whatever.
share your
Let's move
predictions.
on.
Share your predictions.
Well,
Depth
I've
and Nemesis.
already talked about Global Breakout versus Depth. I told you Depth. Like I feel like it's a 1-1-1, and then Depth takes it in overtime.
Yeah, Depth wins that
this.
one.
Marbles,
Yeah, let's be real here.
So much without being in the hot tub with you, okay?
Yeah, it's gonna be a Nemesis versus Depth.
Marbles
And
needs
Depth
to know
coming
our
back
predictions so he can
Yeah.
baby rage.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, Depth come back from whatchamacallit, lower bracket, and then they lose to Nemesis in 3. There you go. Good job. There's your predictions. If you want predictions, I'll release the bracket with all the little things you can drag to it to make it easy for you later. All right. Transition to Lawless.
Yep. People hate rules.
People hate rules. All right, Zombie, announce this.
There were rumors of a team so old back when Due Process was the Wild West called Banditos. And what did Banditos hate? They hated rules. They did what they wanted. They took the game how they wanted. So that's what we're doing. Sponsored by Byaku.
Byaku?
Right?
No, I'm saying Byaku.
Byakugan?
Exactly.
No. Stop. No.
Sponsored by Byaku.
Byaku.
This cup is coming to us, baby. It's coming. Now, Doughnut. What's Lawless Cup?
All right, Lawless Cup. So basically, Lawless Cup. We'll make the official announcement after this and all that. It's going to just be, for lack of better terms, it's going to be 8 teams, single elimination bracket, and it's just going to be whatever goes. Make a team with whoever, just like you and your mates. We'll make a team with 5 Joshes and basically just do whatever, because you know what the rules are? There are no rules. Just don't be an asshole to each other.
Literally be one person playing 5 different computers.
Yeah, who cares? We don't care. The entire tournament.
Pistols only with the other team. Do pistols only. You want to have like a Molly dance party? You want to have a dance party?
None of these things are against the rules that you just.
You want to cheat?
You can definitely play all pistols.
Technically, pistols only is throwing. There is a ruling about that. Technically, you cannot do pistols only.
Really?
Technically,
I think that was because people got really mad against the Momentum versus like Mazer game in season 2.
Yeah, you technically
the community got really mad for some reason.
Yeah, you could technically not do that. That is a rule. So
because,
throw.
It's because someone got super.
Who's an admin who can spawn you shit? Let him spawn you shit. He'll spawn you mops. He'll spawn you auto shots. Who do we don't give a?
We don't care.
The other team.
Okay, sounds like we need to put control on our roster for this game then.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, we don't care. What are the rules? Who cares?
It's a fist round. Do a pacifist round. You don't want to shoot anybody. You just kind of want to chill. Do that. You're lame. And you know
Stream
what?
Snipe, cool.
Stream snipe. There's gonna be no delay.
Wait, no, you're not supposed to tell them that. You're not supposed to tell them that.
No,
the whole
stream
thing
snipe.
is that you.
Do it. No, I changed my mind. Let them know. Let them stream snipe. Who gives a fuck? We don't, because there's no rules. I'll break the rules I made.
This is like
Yeah.
Chrome's wet dream.
Exactly. Like, no, but
Dude,
the whole
He's around
thing.
that age, so I'm sure it's
Shoot
been
it to-
happening.
Oh no,
Shoot,
no.
shoot at the truck. Do whatever. You know what? Just have a good time, man. And also,
Like,
I
this
want to
whole.
give a special announcement for how we're gonna cast this.
Oh
If
yeah.
you're available and you want to cast anybody in the community, no rules on the cast, completely lawless. You can come cast this game. You can come chill. Come hang out with me. I'll be there. I'll be doing my thing. I will drag you into casters and you will have your chance. You will be able to watch the game. You'll be able to spectate the game. It'll be a good time. You can trash talk as much as you want. You can do whatever. So if you're not playing, you can come do that. That's it.
No, if you're playing, come do that. I'm kidding. Don't.
Yeah, even if you're playing, come cast the game you're playing and talk about how shit the other team is. I'm fine with that too. Who gives
Oh,
a
let's live stream comms.
live stream? Let's do it.
Please.
We
Yeah,
will.
but for some details, a bit more details. The event is held not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So it's going to be on the September 11th. It's going to be start at 12 Eastern. There's going to be 8 signups, and if we get more signups, we'll add more. If we get more interest, we'll add more teams. So it's basically just going to be like 8 teams, best of 1 bracket. Winners get some fancy little color called the ship brown color. You're going to look like Vomit
You get the
in the
Bandito
DPL.
roll.
You get the
So they're gonna look
Bandito.
like the team leads color.
Yes.
No, trust me, you can definitely do a worse color than the team leads color.
The team leads color was like lime green. That's fine. But Simber's Zombie's dead. Simber's in Zombie.
No, I switched channels by accident.
Yeah, exactly. Like the whole event is supposed to be fun, and so if you referee, they had 2 admins who spawned them in auto shotty. That's like you should have built a team with admins. Sucks for you.
You should have been friends with some admins. You know what?
Yeah.
You wanna phase through walls? Phase through walls. You want to glitch? You can glitch. You want to sit outside and not get shot by the UAV? Screw it. You want to ask us to pause the match so you can just do whatever for a little bit? Go for it. I might unpause it. I might not. Who cares?
Yeah, it's literally whatever, And if you want to abuse ping, we already do that. So continue.
You know what? Want to play on China servers? Play on China servers. That's it.
Please don't. No.
Do they have China servers? I'm pretty
They
sure.
have Japan.
I'm pretty
They
sure
have Japan
AWS partitions off China servers, so it's actually
Okay,
harder
it
to
could-
deploy on them.
Well, you could do that, or you know what? You wanna play a game with control in Australia? Let's go play Australia servers.
Yeah, figure it out. We don't care. But this entire tournament, it's meant for fun, And if you want to just enjoy it, you can enjoy it. So those are the details. I'll make an official announcement soon. We'll be out and we'll figure all that out. But I mean, I think that's it for the Lawless Cup. Anything else? Zombie, Index, Tetra.
I think that's it for me.
Well, I do want to say, after all this, Index, thank you so much for being our first community tournament organizer.
Yeah, that was great.
It means a lot. It was a great time. I think the community had a lot of fun. I know I did. It was great to be back. Finally, we have something to talk about on the DPL podcast instead of just sitting here talking about updates.
Content.
Yeah, content.
That's all. Why do you think? Oh my God, just talking about like the 8th hotfix in a row. He's like, yeah, there's a hotfix. This game is bad. I hate this community. We're all gonna die. Boom.
And I do see in chat, Akazo says, no rules doesn't sound fun. Don't be a bitch. That's it. Thank you for watching the DPL podcast. I've been here with Mr. Doughnut and Index. Thank you very much. Tune in.
Oh my
Thank you for
God.
having me, guys.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much.